You know, what a crazy year 2024 has proved to be politically. There are things happening in 7 days that you can't imagine happening in a lifetime. And many people have compared the political campaigns of this year to the volatile campaigns in 1968, which included the assassination of Robert Kennedy and the Reverend Martin Luther King. This past Saturday, those comparisons became too real, too vivid, and too close as an assassin's bullet grazed the right ear of former President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Laurie, I'm going to go to you as the Republican on the panel. What impact will the attempt on President Trump's life have on the race?
I think will have a big impact. I think we're already seeing a change in Trump, and he's changed, but everyone else has changed, I think, too. I was testifying at the county council, and afterwards ended up chatting with a young man who, a Democrat, and he wasn't alive when Reagan was shot. He had never seen this happen before to any president. So he told me it really affected him, and you know, he's no fan of Trump, but he just realized this is horrible what happened. And so I think maybe it's waking some people up from their Trump derangement syndrome. Although others, I think, their colors are even showing more, and they're upset at some of the things that people are saying, like, "Oh, God saved Trump," and some people think that's horrible to say something like that. That they're likening it to, you know, other events where children were killed from assassin. So it's interesting to see how people are reacting to this. And I think the people who still have Trump derangement syndrome, it's showing a lot more now, and people are like, "Hey, I'm not going to listen to you anymore."
Well, I mean, it's true that people are going to vote for or against Donald Trump based on what they feel about him. But the real question is, what does it do to the dynamics of the race? And Cary, I mean, obviously, there is some turmoil in the Democratic Party, but what will this attempted assassination do to the overall scope of the presidential race?
First of all, we need to start out with the premise that violence has no place in society, okay, especially in politics. All right, let's put that on the table. But you have to bear in mind one thing: our candidates are responsible for their own actions, for their own behavior, and sometimes that shapes what happens to them. And I'm not blaming Trump for you know what happened to him, but I will say I will blame Trump for the bad behavior that has been in politics for the last several years. I mean, who could forget Crooked Hillary, Carla Fiora, the misogynistic attack on her appearance, Nikki Haley, Nimbra, Ted Cruz. He attacked his wife Heidi, and he also attacked his father Raphael, suggesting that he participated in JFK's assassination. Little Marco Rubio, Obama, Kenya, crooked Joe Biden. What happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband? The reality is, when you have someone who is a bully, who is distasteful, and as far as I'm concerned, Trump is distasteful. So you can accuse me of Trump derangement syndrome. When you have that, you're going to get reaction. Should it be violent? Absolutely not. That's just absurd. And this, I think, will have a short-term benefit for Trump, but in the long term, by the election, people are going to know who Trump is. He's going to let his character shine through. Thank you. That's all I got to say.
So, Laurie, any response?
Yeah, well, I do think it also helped shift the whole idea of his campaign to reach the everyday man. So I think that in the past week, we've seen a major shift, especially with his pick of J.D. Vance, and how he's appealing to the single mom, the worker who's in manufacturing, whether they're in a union or not. I mean, I think the Republicans have finally found their niche and will reach more people now that this has happened. The Republican convention was phenomenal this week, and I think it reached a lot of people.
Cary, last word.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Sean O'Brien's speech at the Republican National Convention was the most laudable speech I've heard in decades. I sure hope he comes to the Democratic National Convention, because the bottom line is there is corporate welfare, and the average working man does need a helping hand. So that's my final word here.
I think, you know, I mean, I know we're talking about the assassination, Tim, and it's just an unbelievably unthinkable event that occurred. And I echo your sentiments, Cary, that there is no place in our politics or in our society for that kind of violence. And it reminded me of the assassination attempt on George Wallace in 1972, where a loner who had actually gone to Canada to stalk, you know, the Republican candidate, was frustrated there, came back to the United States and shot George Wallace here in Laurel, Maryland. Arthur Bremer. So it's you know, it's a very sad state of affairs.